I'm going to read from verse 19. And it says, and so it was, and as soon as he came near the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing. So Moses' anger became hot, and he cast the tablets out of his hand and broke them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf which they had made, burned it in the fire, and grounded it to powder, and he scattered it on the water, and made the children of Israel drink it. I got a question for you. If it was the mixed multitude, the Gentiles that came out of Egypt were the children of Israel, right? Which in Exodus chapter 12 tells you that there was a mixed multitude, a great mixed multitude. Then why did Moses make the children of Israel drink it if they did not worship the golden calf? It makes no sense. See, Moses is not he's not a respected person. You sin, the congregation, you're going to find out which one it was. Because you see, they all look the same. 3 million people in the wilderness. You can hide yourself when you do something wrong, right? He goes, I got to make everybody drink here because I can't really know. See, the Hebrews have been living in Egypt for over 200 years. So therefore, they spoke, they acted like the Egyptians. We're coming out of the wilderness. So all of a sudden now, we need to find out, well, which ones are they? The mixed multitude? Well, which one are they? They all look the same. We have inherited. How many congregations do you go to that it looks like you're in church? They're making the transition to the Messianic movement. Are you going to judge them? No, they're making the transition like we all had to at one point or another. Eventually, and I hope soon, they start walking in Torah observancy completely and they move away from the inheritance that we have received from the past. You understand? Did that make sense? Have you ever seen it that way before? So if it was the mixed multitude, like the Orthodox Judaism's always blamed the mixed multitude for everything, then you see, what's interesting is they forget, in order for the mixed multitude to leave Egypt, think about this. What did they have to do? They had to do two things. They have to, exactly. See, they have to kill the lamb in their houses and put the blood of the lamb on the doorpost by faith. Or graft themselves into a Hebrew home and believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, that the blood of the lamb will protect their firstborn, even though they're not really from the tribes of from the Hebrews. Do you follow? So if they didn't do that, then their firstborn will die. And I don't know about you, but if your firstborn has died, I don't think you're going to really go with the people who just supposedly kill your firstborn. You know? So in order for them to leave, they have to believe in the blood of the Lamb just like the Hebrews had to believe. There's no difference between one. That's what Paul is saying. There's no difference between Jew and a Gentile when it comes to what? The faith. The just shall live by faith. You confess them, you're part of the congregation. Just obey the commandments in which the congregation has to live by. That's exactly what Torah says. Now, Orthodox Judaism, what they do, they make your life miserable for 2 years if you want to convert to Judaism. They even have people watching you. And they discourage you instead of encouraging you to come to Torah. They discourage you 2 or 3 times. Are you sure? Oh, this is a bondage, or this is, a yoke. You have to really this. Living in Orthodox Judaism as a religion is actually bondage. You got to get up in the morning and find out which foot you got to put your shoes on first. Now, again, being a Jew and I understand how they work, there's a lot of wisdom in Orthodox Judaism. But the lifestyle and the structure and the religion is not for me, because it was not for Yeshua, it's not for me. All right? So therefore, we have to understand this principle. So let's go through Scripture. And I'm sure some other stuff, I thought about doing it one way, and it always changes. The title of the message is One Torah, One People, Israel. Okay? And that's what Paul was conveying in Colossians and Ephesians and in Romans. He's trying to explain, in Galatians, he's trying to explain how can a Gentile can be justified to be part of the congregation. He said, by keeping the works of the law, the Ma'aseh HaTorah. Ma'aseh HaTorah, according to Hebrew understanding, is the Torah Sheveh Al Peh, which is the oral traditions, the oral law. How many of you knew that there are 2 laws working in Judaism, Orthodox Judaism? There's the oral traditions and the written Torah. You see what I mean? A lot of people have no idea. Especially 99.99999 of Christianity. They read the book of Galatians, they have no clue. Oh, but the works of the law, those are the ritual laws. No, it's not. It's talking about the Torah, the Torah Shevel Peh, the oral law. And Paul is making a distinction. Nobody in Israel at the time of the first century knew the oral law better than Paul. Peter didn't know it as well. You see, Paul, Shaul, was a scholar. He was raised to the field of Gamaliel. That means that by the time he was 20 years old, this guy was sharp. He knew the Torah verbatim. He was starting Genesis and finishing Deuteronomy like by memory. I can't even, look, I got to have a computer with all the verses already neatly positioned in a place so I could follow a sequence, and I always get away from it anyway. You see what I mean? So if we do not understand the context and we don't understand the reasons why they were talking, we're always going to miss, and we are going to make distinction between people, black, white, Chinese, Puerto Ricans, Jew, Gentile. But wait a second. Isn't Adam, the work of Adam was to multiply and be fruitful, so the whole world will come to the knowledge as one people, one lineage, one genealogy to worship Yahweh the Creator? Isn't that the whole intent of man? So it doesn't really matter what color you are. What do we have in common? Do you love Yahweh just like I do? What is our goal? The kingdom. How are we going to get there? How are we able to walk in the path through Yeshua, right? So how are we going to get there? By obeying Torah. So we don't have to agree. We don't even have to like each other. The Bible says you shall love your neighbor as yourself. It doesn't say you have to like him. Right? So therefore now, when you and I are walking by the way, our goal is the kingdom. The way that we came into the road is through Yeshua HaMashiach. What's going to guide us to the goal is the Messiah through the Torah. Now, when you and I are walking in obedience to the Torah, what we're trying to do is strengthen each other. So when you're strong and I'm weak, you pick me up. When I'm strong and you're weak, I'll pick you up. But we're still walking in a parallel line, straight over there. You might have a different interpretation of what you think it says here and there, but it doesn't matter. You see, let's focus on the goal, the kingdom. Because it'll come to the point when we get to the kingdom, when Yeshua is teaching us the Torah from Mount Zion, trust me. Even he'll say, Rico, remember when you were teaching about that particular verse? Let me really explain what it meant. And I'm going to be sitting there and I said, sorry. I'll tell you, I said, but I'm here. We're walking in that direction. So it doesn't matter whether you believe in two houses or one house, or whether you believe his name is Yahweh or Yahoshua or Yahweh or whatever. We agree on one thing. Yeshua's Mashiach. Torah is our lifestyle and the way of living, and we're heading to the kingdom to meet our Creator. Everything else will be resolved as we walk through. Let's just keep following the cloud. See, what happens is we blame Israel for all the mistakes they did in the desert, right? They did one thing right and they did it good. See, they murmured, they complained, they talked bad against Moses. Korah raised up and rebelled against the people. The guy picking up the sticks willingly and willfully, rebelliously said, I'm not going to keep Shabbat. And he was punished for it. The mixed multitude, supposedly, they worshipped the golden calf and they were punished for it. And the whole congregation had to drink because of their mistake. You see, so is he making a distinction? No. Okay, they doubted Yahweh. Well, they only wanted the manna. They even call it manna. What's that? What is it? Hey, they wanted quail, so he gave them quail until it came out of their noses. But you see, they did one thing that we need to learn from. And Paul told us, everything that happens to them happened as admonition and as examples for us. 1 Corinthians 10:11. See, every time they're walking by the way and they follow the cloud, and the cloud stood still and sat on the tabernacle, they sat down. They still murmured. They still complained. They still wanted to go back to Egypt. They still talked bad against Moses. They still want to not like each other. But when that cloud got up, they packed their stuff and they walked by the way. They still murmured. They still complained. They still talk about Moses. But they followed the cloud. They follow the cloud, and that's really what matters. If you follow the cloud, you'll get to the promised land. Just follow the cloud. That's really what matters, okay? So now, does Yahweh lie or does he change his mind? Well, can we prove it? And Malachi 3:6 says, "For I am Yahweh, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Yaakov are not consumed." Thank the Creator that He doesn't change. Because if we did, we wouldn't be here. He wouldn't put up with our nonsense. It's because of Moses interceding for the people and then Yeshua interceding for us. You know, if Yeshua was not our intercessor, we would be out, wiped out, done, cut off. Because we do everything possible to do away with really what Yahweh wants to give us. Numbers 23, verse 19. You're going to have to just write the verses because I'm going to go through a whole bunch of them.